The starting point to a new life is dissecting your old one. I'm starting this series because I would love to help other people come back to center, come back to who they are. I feel like a lot of my goals and dreams and just personality and life kind of got lost within the social life that I've been living when it comes to just living in society in general, going to school, going to work, all of those things. We kind of have societal rules that we follow, and sometimes it's just blindly followed. We kind of lose that inner child in us, and that's really important for me to dissect as I move forward. I want to show you guys how and why that has helped me. This is my new series, Becoming My Dream Woman. Your dream person is already in you. You really just have to dismantle the societal limited beliefs that you've acquired along the way to get back to understanding this is your dream and this is the person that you want to be. Okay, now we're ready. Who is my dream woman? My dream woman is the version of myself that is fully committed to me. My dream woman is the version of myself who lives freely, who does not have limited beliefs. She is very authentic to her true self, everything that I have dreamed of and more. My dream woman is the version of Adara that has a well, I have a sleep schedule now, but it's kind of just out of whack. Is the version of Adara that has an appropriate sleep schedule. She has her own apartment. She runs her own business. She is making money to where she is financially free. She is financially responsible, independent, and has the option to be dependent. My dream woman is a regular Pilates class member. She has an amazing tribe of friends. Her and her boyfriend are amazing, like mine. But even better, like I said, no limits. There is no limit to what I want to achieve as my dream woman. So my dream woman is a lot of things, and honestly, all of these things are very, very achievable for me. These are all things that I have previously done in my life. Also, I feel like the version of the dream woman that I am striving to be now has already been a version of Adara that I've lived before. It's just we get caught up in life and our society. We just kind of go with the motion, like we just do what we can, and sometimes that brings us back into cycles. It brings us back to cycles. It brings us back to doing what we have to versus doing what we want and making sure that the life that we're living is intentional. Maybe you're wondering why you're not moving forward. There are a lot of things that we have to do in order to grow as human beings. Our minds, if you think about it, literally is like a computer. Our brain can hold a certain amount of capacity at once. But once our brains are filled up with plenty of things that we tend to forget about, things that we tend to just shove in the back of our minds, we can accumulate a brain fog. This brain fog will seep into your everyday life. That's why we have a lot of people that just cannot think straight. It's because you're not emptying your mind. You're letting things accumulate in your mental, and we have to express these things. To piggyback on expressing yourself, you have to look and truly see how you feel in order to express yourself correctly. A lot of us are dealing with escapism. We're dealing with just being unaware of our emotions and how we're feeling. We're also looking back at the times in our lives and only seeing bad things. A lot of us live our lives just looking forward to the next thing. What's next? What's next? What's next? We are not really taught to sit with our emotions and accomplishments and even just the events in our lives and just understand them and accept them. It's always, oh, I've done this, so what's next, or what's next? It's escapism. You're always looking for a new reality and not living in the one that you've already created for yourself. A lot of us are just moving around like robots, just kind of reacting to things and not really thinking about, like, is this truly how I wanted to act in this situation, or how do I feel about this situation, and what is the best next thing for me now that the situation has come to me. A lot of us are very instinctual and are not intentional. Being instinctual and responsive, it's like people don't necessarily think about what they say or their actions, what they're going to do next. They kind of have no plans or goals, period. These people are not sitting with what is happening and understanding and processing and feeling their body and their emotions. They are literally just reacting. So many things can happen just from acting out of impulse. We are not moving forward in our healing journeys because there's a lot of things that happened in our childhood that we tend to either just push aside or we just forget about. We do have to sit with the terrible things that have happened to all of us in our childhood. Even if our childhood was seemingly perfect to someone else, we can only judge our pain and happiness based off of our own experience. I would never want to minimize someone else's pain just because someone else went through something different or seemingly worse. We all have to look back in our past and sit with those emotions and the things that have happened to us, the things that have been said to us, and honestly heal from them. Sit with your younger self and understand, like, this is not your fault, and I'm sorry that this has been hurting you for this long, but be real with your younger self. A lot of the stuff that has happened in our childhood is not our fault and not things that we should have to carry with guilt for the rest of our lives. That is something that we subconsciously hold and takes up space in our brains, which brain fog. When it comes to childhood trauma and just things that have happened in our childhood, there are a lot of things that we necessarily wouldn't even recognize or understand to be triggers. Just because we aren't our child self anymore, a lot of us who have probably dealt with certain types of childhood instances may have left home or left that environment. I keep forgetting that I'm doing my makeup. This is a part of the escapism that I was talking about, leaving the situation, which honestly is perfectly fine. I feel like we have to leave situations and settings and people that constantly trigger us, even though we may not be aware that we're being triggered. For example, when I moved back home with my family after my last relationship, there were just a lot of things that I just did not know affected me because I had been away from home for about 2 years. Now I'm back into my family's hands and it's just different. There are conversations, just interactions, and little things that would make me feel a certain way. It felt out of my control. At this time, I was very focused on my spirituality and just being a better version of myself because that is honestly what I had to do at that point in order to be sane. I started to recognize that what I was feeling was triggered. Whatever this or that would happen or this or that was said, the reaction that I got that felt like I was out of control was because I had been in that space before. I had been in similar situations and there may have been an outcome that kind of stuck in my brain, like literally. Our bodies keep count. I would have to be in a situation and understand, like, wow, like when this and that is going on, this is a trigger for me. What could I do about it? Honestly, there's a lot that I cannot just seem to work through when it comes to being triggered by my family necessarily, but putting up boundaries really did help when it came to not being triggered. Being back in a place of your past can honestly be very triggering, but once you realize and recognize your triggers, you can better form a system to respond to it instead of reacting on impulse. Reacting to something versus responding is about control. And when you respond to something, you have had time to sit and think and understand what has come in and what is about to come out, because some people do not think at all. They don't think with their brains. During this time, like I said, I was really big into my spirituality. I was really trying to understand how to change how I felt. I did not want to feel the reactions when things happen anymore. I just didn't want to feel it. I wanted to be in control of the situation. There have been a lot of talk about raising yourself, rewiring your brain, and just thinking different, having to control and manipulate your own subconscious mind to think differently. There had been so much talk on TikTok specifically about our subconscious minds and how when we're younger we are basically so unconscious to life. It's just like we're soaking up everything that we learn. If you really think about it, during this point of time we're just picking up habits that we learn from our parents, responses that we learn from the people that are around us, how we respond to anger, how we respond to happiness, how we respond to literally just everything. And a lot of our parents were not taught the emotional intelligence to respond correctly. A lot of people do have parents that have already been on this journey and have taught their kids emotional intelligence, and I really feel like that's why we have so many people that can educate us and give us a different point of view of parenthood and how it affects children. Having malleable brains as children and just soaking up everything When we become adults, our subconscious mind is still that childish. My goal was to rewire my subconscious mind and plug it with things that I felt like are really beneficial to my adult life versus my child life. I have grown to want to react to things in my own way. So like I said, when I got triggered just seeing or being around certain things, I had to set up boundaries in order to not feel that way. Instead of letting something just happen to me over and over again, I put a wall up so that I was not feeling that effect that I had been before. Rewiring your brain comes down to a few simple things. Repetition. We really have to dig it into our brains. It's literally like raising a child or raising a puppy. You have to be repetitive and you have to constantly show yourself that this is how things work. This is how things work, because that had already been done to us whenever we were born and raised by the people that raised us. That is literally how that worked. They were telling us this is how this operates. And so we go into our lives with this already formed belief given to us by the people that raised us, and sometimes that may not just sometimes it just doesn't work for you. The way that my parents raised me, a lot of it worked for me, but a lot of it did not. So there are a lot of things that I have to dismantle in my adult life so that I can live differently and live more freely the way that I want to. I'm so happy that I'm able to understand that I could just say this doesn't work for me and change it. That comes with being aware. Being aware that we can do anything and that we know how is really just insane. Access and information is out there, but other people would lead you to believe that you can't do anything just because of their beliefs and their limits that they have on themselves. I made a TikTok the other day and I'm just gonna read it out loud. It says, projection of others is very easy to spot when you're confident in your limitless reality. They project their fears, their discomfort, their uncertainty, their inabilities, their self-criticism, their ignorances, their beliefs. They're showing you their limits on themselves when speaking to you. They don't think you can because they think they can't. These are a lot of the limited beliefs that a lot of people don't even think to dismantle. I really believe that healing is vital to moving forward. Here are a few things that healing can do for you, just in case you may not be aware. Healing brings a lot of understanding. Kind of have noticed in just my experience in life with, just friends, siblings, whatever, that not understanding something really causes a lot of pain, especially if whatever happened was painful to go through just all around. Whenever we have questions unanswered about pain and things that may have altered our reality, our innocence, it is very hard to honestly just sit with it and try to understand, why did this happen to me? Whatever the case may be. Regardless, sitting with that is just hard. Whenever you try to work out why you feel the way that you feel, unfortunately, the way that I have to think about it is that it has already happened. I can't sit here and cry or be upset. I mean, I can, 100% I can. You can sit and cry about what has happened, but understanding why you feel the way that you feel and how to combat that feeling is way more important than what had happened. We all can get hurt in very similar ways, even though the instances or the events may not be the same. Basically, kind of like a cycle or karmic cycle is what you can call it. Going through the same situations, meeting the same person in different forms over and over again, it's kind of like, what can I do differently? What can I do differently? Because regardless, this is probably going to come up and this might happen in my life. Instead of only asking why, ask yourself, what can I do different now? What can my reaction be for this action to not happen anymore? Like I said, a lot of us do not ask ourselves these questions. We do not sit with ourselves and try to understand who, what, when, where, and why when it comes to ourselves. Now that we recognize that something had happened, this is how I feel about it, and we understand our feelings about this situation, once you are aware of something, you have everything in your power to change it now. I know a lot of us are just scared, honestly just scared to be aware. Being aware is really scary, but being aware of your emotions, being aware of situations, being aware of how you react to things, how other people react to things, being aware that some things are instinctive and impulsive can lead to change within yourself. The best that we can do is control our reactions. Understanding that, oh, this person is just projecting onto me, I'm not going to give them the time of the day, is life-changing, because most of the time people are just projecting. Literally, they are just projecting. If you don't want to get stuck in a loop of having the same discussions over and over again, having the same relationships over and over again, having the same goals fall through over and over again, you have to control your reactions and how you take the situation into control. Now that you've spent a lot of time trying to be aware of yourself, sitting back and being real, having conversations with yourself, just trying to understand who you are, this can bring so much opportunity into your life, because you're no longer living in this cycle of the same things that you're used to. Life was literally giving you the same thing that you put out just over and over again. Being aware is seeing different opportunity for change. Now you can make the decision to say, hey, I'm not going to react this way. What I'm going to do different here is XYZ. And XYZ might get you such a totally different result. And like I said, it's really scary, but honestly, being uncomfortable is the only way that you can live a different life and change and grow. You have to make decisions that you haven't made before. You have to try new things, because if you already know that the things that you have been trying are leaving you in the same spot where you left off, you might want to stay there if you don't try something different. That might just be a personal choice, which is okay. But if you want change, you have to be the change. You have to be the change. You cannot live in fear whatsoever. What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? If you make this decision, what is the worst that can happen? If you choose a different reaction, if you choose a different method, what is the worst that can happen? Honestly, ask yourself these questions whenever you're making your choices in life. What is going to happen if I just do what I want? Period. So you have to be really real with yourself. If you have goals and you want to reach XYZ, you want to be this, you want to be that, you can't make the same decisions that you're making every day. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you can't be an ordinary person. You have to have extraordinary habits. You have to have extraordinary dedication to your time. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, are the pieces coming together or what? I have found that looking back and remembering good times in my life has been very freeing to me. Life gets to us. Our society gets to us. We start to form limiting beliefs unintentionally, very much I feel unintentionally, just because we want to survive in our society, in life in general. We didn't have these beliefs as children. So this is why I'm saying what I'm about to say. I have a hard drive that I have my iPhone backup since like 2008 or 7 when I got my first phone. And there were just a lot of things, just like pictures and screenshots and interactions with friends and everything that I had. Like, I used to spend a lot of time just like talking to myself and just being alone. So I kind of got to just see where my head was at the time. And my dreams are still, but were so big and unfiltered. Like, I just knew in my heart that the life that I wanted to live would happen for me. And I vividly remember all of that being stripped away from me. But going back to see my untouched innocence when it came to my future and just myself in general was so motivating, because I could still be that person. These limited beliefs are not something that I have to live by. Going back to see that I did not have these limited beliefs put the limited beliefs right in front of me. It literally let me know, like, wow, I used to think this. Like, why don't I think this way anymore? Boom, here's a limited belief. You don't think that way anymore because XYZ. Because your parents may have told you that going to college was a better option than, you know, doing freelance or being an entrepreneur, because that's the safe route. And that's just, you know, literally what everybody's parents tell them. Almost, I feel like. Not everyone, I use that loosely. I would love to propose that everyone dissect themselves before their societal limited beliefs. Who are you when you are alone? Who would you be if you had the freedom to be that? These are so important to ask yourself, because these could open windows to dreams and beliefs that you've had before, and also dreams and beliefs that you've never thought that you could ever accomplish. I am a huge fan of going back and remembering the good times in my life and just remembering a different place. It's very natural and very instinctual to just remember the bad things that have happened to you, because like I said, you have a lot of questions, you have a lot of unanswered pain. So it's like something that you kind of dwell on and something that you just think about, which honestly it sucks, but we have to let go of that. We have to let go of just thinking about the negative in our lives. We have to stop reducing the people in our lives to their worst moments. We have to stop reducing ourselves to our worst moments. Be open to the fact that, hey, all of these things have happened, but so did this, so did this, so did this. Like, even out the scales just for yourself. Like, you have to even out the scales for yourself, because if you don't, you're just gonna be focusing on the negative that has happened in your life. And at this point, it's already done. It is already so done. The only control that you have over it is your reaction and how you feel towards it. Once you get that under control, it's now something that your brain doesn't necessarily have to hold, and you make space for your new life. The goal is to free up storage. So once you've worked through some of the things that have happened in your childhood and you've gotten a better sense of self, then you now have more room in your brain to live the new life that you want. Now you can actually cater to that little person inside of you that may or may not have needed what you can offer at this point in your life. Now that I have worked through a lot of things within myself, I do have the luxury of just treating myself. I have the luxury of understanding what my younger self needs. Whenever I feel disconnected and I feel like I just need to sit back and be myself, I just need to be a Dara, I need to reach deep inside of me to find joy in something, I will literally find something that my younger self enjoyed to do and do it. I'll watch Hannah Montana, I'll paint my nails, I'll make YouTube videos. Like, this is our lives, and we have so much power and control over them. We just have to use it. I am taking so long to actually get my makeup done. I'm actually done with my base, almost. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup. I'll tune back in, you guys, when I'm done. And I am finished with my makeup. I really love it. I am in love. Do you see it? I do just want to go over all of the main points that I hit in this video. I really am so proud of me putting this together for you guys. Who is my dream woman? She is someone that lives freely. She is someone that lives without limits. She is the version of myself that I dreamed of before limited beliefs got to me. If you feel stagnant, there may be a reason. It might be escapism. You might be unaware of your emotions and past things that have happened to you. Look at your path with grace, and also just think about where you are now and be grateful where you are and how far you've made it, how far you've come. Recognizing that you may have triggers, recognizing what those are and how you can change your reaction to your triggers, reprogramming your subconscious mind as an adult, not living in fear and being real with yourself, awareness being scary but also very necessary for change, being aware can bring opportunity, how remembering good times in my life set me free. It's so easy to hold on to unanswered questions surrounding pain. I've hit every single main point that I've wanted to hit in this video. This is really just kind of understanding where the starting ground for understanding yourself and becoming your dream woman would come from. In the next episode, I really want to hit on doing a life audit and kind of seeing where you want to go from here. Now that you are talking about and dismantling your past, now you can look forward to a better future and a better future self. Who does that look like? Who is that? And we're gonna get all into it, and I'm super excited. If there's anything in this video that you found useful, please comment below, because it would really make my heart happy to see that my knowledge in the life that I've lived can help other people. Don't forget that our brains hold memory. No matter if we're thinking about it or not, we have to clear our head, guys. We have to clear our head. We have to be clear-minded, and we have to understand what is going on in the present moment. If we're focused on the past, we cannot be present. And the way to get through the past is getting through it. You have to go through something to get out of it. So let's get through the past and let's focus on a better future for ourselves. And I can't wait to see you next video. Bye.